Are we ready?
Ready to get your ass kicked.
He's already scrolling. He's already not paying attention.
I'm ready.
Yeah,
I'm
he's
paying
late
attention.
as fuck, so he
You
might
got-
as well scroll away.
Hold on. Slow me down.
No,
All
we
right.
gotta. We are recording.
Yeah,
this,
I am
okay?
recording. And welcome back to another great episode of the Riley Black Project with Crystal and John.
Hey.
And that other cackling sound you hear is Heather. Hey, Heather.
Stop.
He hates you so much right now.
Oh, I know. I ruined the intro.
That's so funny.
You didn't ruin the intro. You made it funny.
So speaking of giving John shit, so we were giving John shit because
Speaking of giving
Speaking of,
John
we
shit,
haven't
were
spoken
just
of
doing
anything.
that.
right.
All I said was hello.
Okay, that was in the pre-show. You guys didn't know that we were giving John shit for being late.
They just walked right in on it.
I'm not late to them. They're listening to this podcast at the same time they always listen.
Anyway,
Well, we're gonna catch them up.
Right. So our goal is always to record around 9 p.m.
It's still around 9.
It's 9:51.
You said 9, didn't you? You didn't say 10. It's around 9.
It's accurate-ish.
I mean,
so.
if we're rounding, it's
Right.
10.
Not really. If you round by 5s, we're still at 9.
What?
What?
Yeah, not 9:50. 9:51.
In no world,
At
is it
9:55 you
rounding
round.
to 9.
At 9:55, you round to 10.
Listeners, but can we get a comment on the we need a post about this.
A post?
A post about
We need a post.
if you round up at 9:50.
If 9:50 ever rounds to 9 o'clock.
No.
Just
Yes
saying.
or no? Hard
You said
no.
9.
In John's world, yes.
I'm not late.
Yeah.
I'm Cuban. I'm not late.
God, this is true. So last week, Heather, did you have a chance to listen to today's podcast? It just dropped today. So, okay. So on last week's podcast, we talked about how we met. And in that story, there was, whoa. All right.
It's raining sideways outside.
Wait, who met? Is it raining sideways there too? It's raining sideways here too.
Yeah, it's
okay.
raining a lot.
Yeah.
So how John and I met.
Okay.
And in that story, when we met, one of the things we had was Doritos mac and cheese. That was like delicious, like so good that like it was in my wedding vows. I mentioned it, like, and I was like, "Ooh,
Yeah, it was pretty good.
that sounds good. We should have Doritos mac and cheese sometime this week." And he mentions how we actually have some Doritos in the house.
No, you mentioned how we had Doritos, and I
Right.
reminded you that that's for the nursing staff.
Well, they didn't match. So
I thought the Cheetos didn't match.
so there was extra Doritos. They did match. So yes,
So they did
correct.
match.
They
So
did
you're
match,
lying.
but there was extra. There wasn't enough room for all of them in the basket.
Can I
like
just
2
say that
bags.
Doritos mac and cheese sounds actually disgusting to me?
It's delicious. It's so good. Like it's just
Those
mac and
John
cheese
don't
with
eat
crunched
cheese.
up. Oh yeah, that's right.
The what?
She doesn't eat cheese.
Oh, because she's lactose intolerant.
No, because she's
No,
just
I
weird.
just don't like cheese.
You don't like cheese?
Yeah,
And you're gonna have her. She's gonna take my place
No,
on the
you're
podcast.
so-
I know. It's
I mean, I'm not
big-
eating. It's a food podcast.
This is true.
But how can you trust someone who doesn't like cheese?
You know, I
More for you.
I question it all the time, but you know, what can you do?
This is your friend.
So anyway, we talked about how I wanted that sometime in this next week. And so tonight I requested Doritos mac and cheese for dinner. And John looks me dead in the face and tells me we don't have Doritos.
I said I can go get some. I can
And
go
I
buy
said-
some
And I
Doritos.
said, what do you mean we don't have any Doritos? We had Doritos. We've talked about this. I literally called dibs on them.
We had like 2 little bags. Or
You
3.
ate them?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep. I ate them throughout the week.
That's right, Heather.
I took them with me for lunch.
Didn't
Few
even
times.
remember that he ate them.
But I did save her
Ooh.
the Cheetos, the crunchy Cheetos.
Yeah, he
Nobody
also...
wants those.
Yes, she loves
I
those.
do love the crunchy Cheetos.
Her and
Not
Jay.
for your Doritos mac
Right?
and cheese. You don't.
Exactly.
Ask her if we had
And-
Doritos mac and cheese. Ask her.
Ask her if she's 8.5 months pregnant.
Ask her if she
Thank
had.
you.
Ask her
That
if she
doesn't
had
matter.
what she wanted.
You took her food.
Thank
She's
you.
an
But she
angry,
didn't. But she didn't want
pregnant
the
woman.
Doritos. She wanted Doritos mac and
It's
cheese.
probably
don't
also
know
the
that.
reason we're 30 minutes late because you had to go get Doritos.
Oh my God!
Maybe
Really?
we
It's
had
the
to.
reason. It's
that
the
day
reason we're
wanted
30 minutes.
Doritos.
Okay. It's the reason we're 30 minutes late because
Okay,
I had
listen.
to run
Is that why we're late?
to the
Because
gas
you ate
station.
the Doritos?
No, because I would have finished dinner at the same time.
No. I think it is, but according to him, it's not. But
All right.
but like
Actually,
literally the rule
the
is
reason the reason we're late is because we had Doritos mac and cheese, and Jr. did not like the Doritos mac and cheese. He did not like the Dorito chunks in his mac, so
What
it
is
took him
this?
forever to eat.
Dr.
I would not
Seuss?
have liked that either. I was just going to say, you would not like them on your plate. You would not like them in a bowl.
I was like, are you gonna add in green eggs and ham?
John, I am.
But like, I'm crying. But literally, like,
You know, the people
rule-
come on here for laser tricks, laser hacks. They don't come
Shut
to
up.
hear
And you
us
come to
bickering.
hear us make fun of you.
No, they don't come to hear us
Oh,
bickering.
they're here for it. Don't you worry.
Totally here for it.
Well,
It's
I
a follow up
apologize,
from
guys.
last week.
You
okay?
might not be here for it.
But like, I called dibs, and I'm 8.5 months pregnant. I shouldn't
And
have
I got
to, like,
you Doritos. I went to the gas station, bought a bag of Doritos, and came back and made you mac and
It's
cheese.
not the point, John.
Next time,
Are
I'm
we
not
trying
going to the
get
gas
to
station.
the point here.
Next time, just don't eat my damn Doritos.
Yeah, and then we won't have
They're
any problem.
our Doritos.
They're not ours.
And maybe you'll be on time.
All right. Okay. Now you.
Maybe if someone knew how to set up for the podcast.
Hey, you know what?
Ooh, burn.
That's your job.
Okay. You could have put JR down.
What else are you gonna do for the rest of this podcast? You're just gonna scroll. So
He's going to scroll the feed.
yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of Facebook feeds, so
Oh, good
today,
intro.
right?
Look at that segue.
So today we're gonna talk about our Facebook feeds with all of the laser and craft groups that we follow.
I only follow one.
Yeah, and you were forced into
And
that, one.
that was accidentally.
It was.
And I haven't left yet. And haven't gotten kicked out.
It's tempting. So, and then the other thing we're going to talk about is digital file selling etiquette. To some of us, some of the rules are very obvious, and to many, it's not. Like, not at all. So, it's just something that we, I guess, fortunately and unfortunately, we need to cover a lot. So, which one should we cover first?
The groups. How many groups is too much?
I don't think the limit exists. Let me see. We tallied up earlier tonight. We tallied up our group totals.
We did.
Let's see. Let me scroll.
Did
up.
John add his one?
I have one.
John has one. How many gun groups are you in? How about that?
None.
None? Mm-mm. Why?
On Facebook?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't do groups. I don't like really. I'm in a
follow
Traeger.
I feel like
Pages
not a lot
on-
of people do. Like, I don't want to say not a lot of people, but I feel like the crafting world, or like unless they're
Or the
like on
group
there
people.
for something like super specific.
Yeah.
Yeah, like none of my friends and family use Facebook groups. Like
Well,
they're always like, "Wait, you use Facebook for that?" I'm like, it's literally like an underground world.
Well,
Yeah.
Crystal
What do you
Crystal
mean you
does
don't
too
use
because
Facebook?
you're in the mom group.
Yeah.
You're
I'm
in a bunch of mom group. No, not a
No,
bunch,
I'm in
but
2.
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I feel like were you in 2 with JR? Or were you in more with JR?
I was probably in more.
Yeah, you're a
with
Facebook
JR.
groups.
I am a Facebook group
I'm not.
kind of person.
I'm in the Traeger group, but I don't post.
I just left that group today.
I don't post. I don't. I just look at what people are making, but I'm not active. And I just follow when I first got the grill.
Well, so
and I posted a
before-
few things, and then that's it.
Before
Now I'm a
lasers.
voyeur.
Before lasers, and I guess before crafting, because before Silhouette was what started my group habit, was because I needed like more information on like actual like users. And then because if you join one Silhouette group, you have to join 10 of them, because you join one and one will suck, or you join one and it's not super active, or there's like things that you like about each one. So it started with Silhouette, but then like since then, like anytime something new happens, I join a group. Like when I had my gallbladder removed, I joined a group. Because I needed to know like if it was normal, and I didn't really have anybody to ask except my mother, and she hadn't had hers removed for like 20 or 30 years before. So
you could ask my
like,
grandmother. She got hers removed.
No.
Like 50 years ago.
I often do it for like reviews, like hotel reviews or like location reviews.
That's a good
I use it a
idea.
lot.
I use YouTube for that.
Yeah.
And I'm not really a Facebook group person, but I am a
You're all
Instagram
over
page.
Instagram, yeah.
Yeah, so I follow like I don't know
You follow
7
a
or 8
ton
gun pages
yeah.
on Instagram, and
Okay.
I'm active in those as far as like liking, and then they'll be like left or right, you know,
Yeah.
like they'll show. So I on their stories, so I'll engage
okay.
that way, but I don't follow groups because. I mean, especially in the gun community, and I don't know how many listeners here in that,
Right.
but they get very like they
Yeah.
get political,
Yeah.
and then like
That's
open
true.
carry versus conceal, and
Yeah.
it's just too much. I just want to look at cool guns.
Yeah, right. You
And see
just want to
people
look
shooting.
at them.
And people see
the
people
pictures.
shooting, and that's it. You know, fun stuff.
You should
Instagram's
open a
perfect for
group that's called "We Just Want to Look at Cool Guns."
right?
Yeah, but then I'm stealing pictures from everybody because I don't unless Crystal lets me buy cool
No,
guns.
you're not.
No.
Can I buy
stealing.
cool
you just
guns?
Get people to join that have pictures
Yeah.
of cool guns.
But I mean, I have to have a certain amount of cool guns to start the page.
Why?
So can
You
I buy
You have
some
how many guns do you have?
2,
No, you don't.
3,
No, you don't.
3
He's just gonna add more.
3 cool guns.
You what 3? No, you
I
have
have-
more
He's
than
saying
3.
he only has 3 cool guns. So you have some lame
see,
guns?
he's
Is
counting.
that
He's
right?
already to 4. You have my grandfather's. You have
Right.
my old gun. You
Right,
have at
that's
least 2 of your own.
Right.
If
then
not
3.
more.
3. No, 3.
4.
I have 5
Now
guns.
we know where to go during the
Jeez,
zombie apocalypse.
I would like everyone to see how
I have
that
5 guns.
escalated. How he said he had 2 and he's now to 5.
It's not
He
fair though.
said 2
To-
like without even thinking.
so
He was
there's
like, "I only have 2."
there's one
I have
that I
2.
always carry.
Okay.
There's my daily carry.
right.
Then there's Bumpa's gun,
Right.
the revolver that
My
I carry
grandfather's,
here and
uh-huh.
there. Then I have
My
my
old gun.
one.
That one.
That one. Then I don't want to go into how many guns I have.
Why? Because have you already
no,
figured out that you have more than 5?
No.
Oh.
Just because I don't want people coming to the house to take my guns.
They won't because you have guns.
When they become banned.
Oh,
See,
oh
and
God.
this is
Here
this is
we
what
go.
goes
That's
on
why I have guns.
This
That's
is what
why I
go-
bought mine last year.
before guns get banned.
Before they get banned.
No, but then I have
Better
the 20.
load up.
Then I have the 22, and then the 380.
Okay.
Yeah. So 3, 5,
3.
5, and then you have your mosquito.
Yeah. That I haven't shot in forever.
Right, but I have 5. But they're
Okay.
only 2 of them are like cool.
I love
So if
how
I
he
wanna
rounds-
start-
he's rounding down again to 2 because only 2 of them are cool.
To start my IG.
So to be
page,
able to start his group
Yes.
or his page, he
yes,
needs
I
full
need
guns.
more guns.
Okay, then no page for you.
Okay.
So, let me go back to the numbers. Let's see. Heather.
We veered well off the path we were on.
way, yeah. That's what we do on this podcast. If you want us to focus, this is not the place for you.
This-
So how many
Okay,
groups?
this is
How many
definitely not the
groups
issue.
do you follow
So
to get
Heather,
back on?
Heather follows.
I could ask Heather. She can ask.
I
What?
gave Crystal my
She
numbers.
gave me
I don't
the
have them right here.
list.
Okay.
So she follows 28
Damn.
laser groups.
And like actively follow, like
no,
you're
so
active in
we'll,
them.
we'll get to that.
Okay.
Why?
So
Stop interrupting.
he's not scrolling yet. He hasn't.
I've never heard you be this active in our conversation.
You know, you start by picking on me, and this is what happens. Now I'm gonna ruin this
And then when he
podcast.
picks his phone up.
I'm gonna ruin this podcast. It's not gonna be the Crystal and Heather
Crystal
podcast.
and Heather show today.
No.
We want you to stay with us, John.
Right. So she's in 9 crafting groups. So
Okay.
non-laser groups. She manages 3 groups.
Okay.
So she's either an admin or mod in 3 groups. And groups that she actually like follows, comments, participates in is about 10.
Okay.
So
How many is that?
well, so it's not they're not all
Right,
like
Some of those
separate.
are shared.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the group she follows, that's going to be part of the
So then,
28.
so 28. So what's the other 18?
ones that, well, I mean, you say, Heather, what are the other 18 that are they just ones that like,
You just voyeur in?
yeah, or that aren't as
What, the ones
active?
that I'm not following? I was
Yeah.
gonna say, like, they're basically the ones I just have notifications turned off for.
Yeah.
Like Crystal said, like I follow like the Hard Rock Hotel fan club, and it's like the people who have like they're in like the membership group, and like I don't want to see every post that's in there. So like I don't have notifications turned on for them, but like if I wanted to go in there, I can.
So like one of mine that would be like a laser group I follow that I don't, that would be in my like laser groups number, but not a laser group that I actually like participate in. I think there's one that's like Glowforge weddings or like Glowforge and food. Like I'm not active in those because those aren't things that I'm actually doing.
Right.
And so, and because I'm not active in them, you know, the way Facebook algorithms work, they don't show up in my feed. So unless you're like actively liking, commenting, looking at the page, it doesn't even show up.
Okay.
So unless I go looking for it, you know.
So what's your number?
And some of them are like supply,
Yeah.
like supply pages that you would really only post in if you're using their products or if you're looking for something.
Exactly. So there's a lot of, which that would be in one of, and I consider that one of the ones that I like follow, but like Smoky Tides, because I'm in there, I'm actually pretty active in that group. Like I comment, like post, whatever, but that's a supplier page that, you know, if I didn't really use their supplies much, I would follow them just to see what they got, but not necessarily somewhere that I am regularly because I'm not using their stuff. So my number, any ideas on what my number is for laser groups?
45.
Ooh, close. 41.
Damn. I thought I was overshooting.
Nope. Well, I mean, you were by 4.
No, I thought I was overshooting by a lot.
Nope. Crafting groups I follow is 19. That's like all the silhouette groups, a lot of vinyl groups, because like same thing with the silhouette groups, the suppliers always had their own page, that kind of stuff. There's well, the funny part is, so again, managing a group, when you get the requests from people, it tells you how many groups that person who's requesting is in. It also tells you how many groups you have in common with that person.
So you have a group in common with everybody.
Not always. Which is always, again, considering I follow approximately 41 laser groups. If we don't have a group in common, it's sometimes a red flag. Because it's like, well, then what are you following and why do you want
It's really crazy to find people that don't have groups in common.
Exactly.
Like, I feel like that's very odd and then you're suspicious.
Exactly. And then I'm like, who are you?
Who are you and how
Who
did
sent you here? Yeah, exactly.
This is a catfish.
Right? Well, and I mean, unfortunately,
and sometimes it is. Yeah.
No, totally. It like, I mean, Glow Create. Remember when you were getting bombarded?
When we got attacked.
Yeah.
I was under siege.
Yeah.
They
From
were just like, hello.
Well, and I don't know if you've noticed. Are you in the Glowforge Makers group?
I am, but I don't think I have notifications.
Yeah, so apparently that's one that I'm surprised it actually was showing up in my timeline because I'm not part of it. Like I'm not active in it. Anyway, so apparently the admins are like missing. Nobody knows like who they are or like they're not active anymore. People tag them and they don't ever show up. And it's like a public group now. And so it's just full of all of the spam.
Free for all.
Yeah, it's literally a free for all, and they're posting like all those like weird like clickbait videos.
Like the beauty,
No, not even lasers. It's like fish. It's just random, just clearly spammers. Like if you click on that video, you're like they're in your Facebook. In trouble. Yeah. Right. So like the whole, and there's been a ton of posts of like what's going on, where are the admins, and everyone's like they're not here. So I think that group was like taken
disabled.
Well, no, I think like hackers literally, because apparently like, that's a thing now. Yeah, it's like hackers are like stealing groups and like hijacking all your members and stuff,
and like trying to get people to buy them back.
Yeah, for like ransom. Like
legit ransom.
Yeah, my nail lady, her nail page was hacked like a couple weeks ago, and she had to like start a whole new one, and waited, I think it was a couple weeks before Instagram fixed it.
Wow.
And I just noticed that her, like, the page that she set up while she couldn't access her hacked one, you know, and her business is linked to it.
I was just going to say, that's the problem is like that. I mean, not the problem, but like when stuff like that happens and you have your business linked to something like that.
Well, and depending on how closely linked it is, they could access like important shit. So yeah, but I just noticed the other day when I went to go make an appointment that she had her old page back. So apparently it worked. But I mean, it was a couple weeks to a month where she was having to use this other like backup Instagram page because they literally they took her page.
Wow.
Yep. So, I don't know if we know how many groups are too many. Because, I mean, so they all kind of serve their own purpose. Depending on, like, the project you make or the question you have, they all have their own, like, purpose. Sometimes they overlap.
They're all their own, like, world, too. Like, they all have their own rules. Like, they all have their own, like reason behind being created. Like, you have learning groups that are also selling groups. You have learning groups that you're not allowed to sell in at all.
Right.
You have like certain groups now that you have to agree to terms before you can sell, just to make sure that,
like that
you're
one
not
with the
selling
laser.
crap.
Yeah.
Right.
And then.
So do topics overlap a lot?
Totally, all the time. And so, I mean, and again, it sometimes the size of the group makes a big difference too, because like if a group like GUG, which is 35,000 members, sometimes you can post and get absolutely like no one will see it and no one will comment. And then like I've noticed in our Laser Me This group, which I think, I don't even know how many members we're to now. I think we might even like 2.5, 3,000.
I was going to say almost 2.5, I think.
Yeah. So, lately we've been getting people who join the group, and that group is, I mean, it's not sole purpose, but its main purpose is literally for selling. Like if you're selling a file, if you're selling files, if you're selling anything laser related, come here. And where you can you can spam without guilt, you know.
Okay.
So anyway, we've been getting questions from people lately of like, hey, what lasers should I buy? Or do you know where I can find this? Or do you know where I can find that? And we see most of those posts that come through. So they're more likely to get an answer in our small group than in those bigger ones. And so sometimes that's how you choose where you're going to post or whatever. Or you tried in the other group and you got crickets. So then you're like, well, let me go try this one.
Right. Yeah.
One of them is like Glowforge jewelry. And so that one, obviously, if I have a new like earring file bundle that I want to show people, or I went in there and asked, hey, where do you guys get like your earring hardware, your findings? And got obviously a whole bunch of people who make earrings. So it's I know that they're going to be the people who have the info I want. I don't want the info from the other people who make 2 pairs of earrings a year to tell me where they got theirs, you know? So they all have their own purpose, but they definitely do overlap. And it's funny too, because sometimes when they overlap a lot, like if you have a new project, I'll post it in like Smoky Tides and then in GUG and then in that one with the laser, and I'm like, sorry, if you're in any of these groups with me, you see that I
and nothing but a feed of Crystal Aguila just posted in
every single group. Like, it's kind of annoying that Facebook has to out you like that. Like, why can't you just
really
show them one?
Especially if you're friends.
Yeah, and then they put them. I know, and then they send your friends notification. Crystal just posted
all
in
day,
GUG.
every day.
Yeah, and even if you've seen the notification, it just reminds
until
you.
I acknowledge it. It'll just keep telling me.
Even if I acknowledge it, it doesn't go away. It'll be like, Heather.
Not anymore. It used to. Yeah, it's broken. They broke it.
Yeah,
but they gave us the ability to see typing in group messages, so that's a bonus.
Which I haven't seen that yet, but I'm excited for that. Because they did give it to us for like one day, and then they took it away, and I was devastated. Because it was pretty amazing. No, it still is amazing. Yeah. I know I need to update so that I can actually see that. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much it on like the Facebook groups. There's no limit.
I thought you were wrapping up the podcast. I was like,
so
we're done.
So is there?
So that's been great, guys.
Is there like an entry level number that you would suggest? Like, should people stick to like 5?
No,
join them all.
I don't think so.
No,
Because
join all the groups.
Especially if you're new.
So don't be afraid to join groups.
No, because especially if you're new.
And when you're in the groups, sorry, you go.
No, you're fine. When you're new, you don't know what you want to do yet. Or even if you think you know, it always changes. Like, every single person I've ever talked to has always been like, oh, I thought I wanted to make these. I made those and I changed my mind. They suck. And now I really like these or whatever. So, like, again, I think I mentioned several times that I actually wanted to make those, like, name rounds. That's why I bought the laser. I don't want any parts of those. And I literally have my friend making mine for me. So, like, joining them, you get ideas, you see what people are doing, you see like, oh, I've never seen that before, or didn't know that we could do that with a laser. And they all, some of them fit you better. It totally, yeah. I mean, I've met a ton of friends over a million different groups, and you find like the ones that feel most like home to you. Like, there's some groups where, like, I'll post every once in a while or I'll comment every once in a while, but then you have your favorite groups where it's like, I like this one for whatever reason. Right. And you don't know that unless you join a million of them and you experience them all, and then you're like, that one's okay, but I really like this one. Either because...
Plus, when you know a bunch of the users, like, since we all share the same groups, like, we hop from group to group and we can have, like, we comment on each other's comments. And,
right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you start building, like, a relationship with other crafters, and it's just, it's fun. It's how Crystal and I met.
Totally. Right. And I mean, some are more, like, more supportive than others, or some are more like just a sharing, some are more salesy.
Some are more feisty than others.
Yeah. Some are like, oof. Screenshots galore. Some of them.
I was going to say, if you see some shit in a group, screenshot it, because they will delete it. They will make it seem like it never happened, and you'll be like, damn, I know I saw that shit.
A dirty delete is on its way. Yes, but speaking of screenshots, as an admin or moderator, do not be screenshotting shit and taking it to another group and posting it and talking shit about that person publicly, because chances are that person is probably also in that group. Like, just, it's one thing to screenshot something and send it to your friend and be like, whoa, look, go follow this post, it's going down. That's one thing. Right? Exactly. That's one thing. Share it privately with your friends, or like, hey, this is cool, or hey, what is this, whatever. But to post it, like, speaking of, we've talked that there's a lot of Facebook drama lately. There was one where, like, a supplier took a screenshot from another supplier's group to then post it in their group saying, don't do this.
Oh, she.
Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's just things like that. It's messy. Don't be messy.
Don't be.
I'd be hearing it. It sounds messy in those groups.
That group is messy.
Well, and like it's so funny too, because it comes in waves. Like, there'll be like months where it's like boring, like not a lot going on, and then all of a sudden there'll be a couple days or a couple weeks,
hits the fan.
and it hits every
and
fan
everybody
blade.
Wild out.
They do. They go nuts. Did you see this one?
And people have days where we'll be like, what is happening to the internet
What
today?
is going on?
Like the Ouija board day.
Oh,
Holy
man.
hell.
That there was like three that day. 3 in one day.
Yeah.
And then as soon as
that was like, it was like one got bullied, and then it was like, everybody make a Ouija board, and I was like, oh, today is about to get so weird.
Yeah. Well, and then the post got deleted, and so then people were making new posts about why that post got deleted, and oh man.
And nobody that didn't see the first post knew what was going on.
Right, they're like, what did I miss? What's going on? Yeah.
That was a fun day.
It was a fun day. So next we will talk about file selling etiquette. Where do we start, Heather?
Well, wait, before we jump, should we also talk about being in a group etiquette and just mention that the search feature is out there?
Oh my
gosh,
gosh,
you're joining to learn.
Yes. Search. Well, which I will say, sometimes Facebook is a hater.
I would say sometimes it doesn't work.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't
anyway.
work, but sometimes you can find exactly what you need in 2 seconds, because there's always those one questions that it's like, okay, that's literally been asked 5 times today. So, so yes, searching.
And I also use like the same tags in each group. So like if you're ever looking for like I use quick tip all the time.
Yes,
all the time.
yes. Which was great when we were doing the laser hacks episode.
Yeah, it was so easy to find them, wasn't it? I was like, I'll just search quick tip and I'll go find them all.
Past Heather was thinking ahead for future Heather, and it was
for
great.
Real. Good looking out.
What else?
So yeah, file selling etiquette.
Well, I mean, group etiquette. One thing would be, don't comment on someone's file that you like or project that you like, and just say the word file. I want to smack those people.
Or just say F.
Oh yeah. Instead of
or
following.
A period.
Yeah. Oh,
There's
man.
a button at the top that you could just click that
the
says
little 3 dots.
Follow. Yeah.
Follow the post. But yeah, like,
follow this post. Turn notifications on for this post.
Compliment a project, and then ask, "Are you selling the file?" Questions about the file. Like, it just takes
the
word
wind. File with no punctuation either.
Like, the worst.
File.
Sometimes they'll add like three
how I read it.
3 question marks to file, question mark, question mark, question mark. Like,
I just want to comment and be like, no.
Exactly. Not for you.
Everyone can have it except for you. Yeah. Everyone else can have it, but now you can't because you've officially gotten omitted.
Right. So, hey, good transition. Speaking of, are you selling that file? The first question is, should you be selling said file? A few criteria.
And what's the rule?
A few criteria. If you got the image from Google, no. Just the answer is no. Even if, so Google has this fancy little filter that you can filter by images that supposedly aren't copywritten. Okay. It's not necessarily accurate. You can't trust that. Like, if you want to make something and you're willing to, like, risk it, sure, but not in our groups. Because if we find out, we'll kick you out. So, no Google images. What else? If you purchased said SVG, design, drawing, or file, you cannot sell it. When you purchase an SVG, you're typically purchasing the rights to sell said design in the physical form.
As a finished product, not as a digital.
Right. One good example.
Even if you tweak it, even if you add to it or remove from it.
Oh man,
no part of your file is allowed to be resold. I
totally should have got together the myths. If you change it 10%, no, you still can't sell it.
I mean, honest to God, even if that is a rule, don't be that person.
Right, yeah, just don't.
Like, why would you want to take somebody else's design, like chop a leg off and be like, hey, look, this is my design now. Like, stop.
That's more like 40%. If you're chopping off limbs, that's, Wait, no, that was wrong. It's more like, carry the 25%. I don't know.
You don't know how many legs my character had. No. So
This is true. Thanks for the assist, Heather.
You're welcome.
So yeah, and basically, so the blanket rule I tried to tell people, obviously there's more explanation, that you can go into beyond this.
Yeah, statement. Like there's more legalities to it. But
the simple rule. If you didn't draw it, you cannot sell it. It's pretty much a good statement to
sell it.
Exactly.
I mean, you technically can.
This is true, but it would be illegal in most cases.
And super slimy.
True. So if you did not draw it, just don't sell it. So, and that even includes when that Bernie was going so crazy.
Yeah, like it was someone's photo.
It was someone's photo, and many people traced it from the same said photo, and a lot of people were selling the designs. It was in hot demand. It was super funny. It was going viral. But technically, the person who owns that photo owns those rights. If you are tracing from their photo and you can recognize that that trace is from that very viral photo, that is illegal because they own the rights to said photo. So like little things where sometimes I have a friend on Facebook that I used to work with a long, long, long time ago. She posts a ton of pictures of flowers. And I've literally asked her for permission to trace her floral pictures that she posts all the time. I'm like, oh my God, this is a gorgeous flower. Can I trace this? And she's like, yes, totally. Go ahead. Like, and I'm like clear with her my intentions of what I'm doing with this. But even in that situation, I'm asking her for permission to do so. Like, technically, sure, it's going to be difficult if you Google some flower like a rose and you trace somebody's photo. It's going to probably be pretty hard for the photo
it's
owner or what exactly. But technically, it's illegal. Are you going to necessarily get caught? Maybe not. But, be genuine in your endeavors in whatever you do. Mm-hmm. What else? Oh, there are very few, what are they? Subscription or,
like the services where you're actually allowed to resell their design.
Yes. And so one of them is Creative Fabrica. This is one I always use as my example. Even the ones that you're allowed to resell digitally, there's rules on how you're allowed to do so. So one example that I saw it's always a good example when I'm trying to explain this to people, is there was a lady who made an adorable milestone file with the 1 month, 2 month, whatever. Well, she got a cute rainbow from one of those services. Well, people were asking her if they could buy the file. And although she made, the outline, the circle shape or whatever shape she chose, and the 1 month and the 2 month and whatever, she did not make the rainbow. And even though I think she even bought the rainbow from Creative Fabrica, they allow use with digitally if you make it so that rainbow cannot be pulled from your design completely, like whole.
Right, like it has to be like welded to something
exactly
else, or like
she has
or something like that.
So one example they show on their site, and it's like these 6 different pretty flowers, right? And so you bought the 6 separate flowers from Creative Fabrica. The way that you can sell it is if you take those 6 flowers and turn it into a completely different design where those 6 flowers are now like part of some floral background or floral reef that's all
or like
welded
they have an
together
where they can't be right.
Because you can't, if I just wanted that one flower from the new design, I can't have that. And so where her design, where it was like the milestone file, that rainbow, if I just wanted that rainbow, I just got to delete everything else. And now I got the rainbow, which is not fair to the person who actually drew that original rainbow. And that's the reason behind all of these rules of don't. It's because that's somebody else's art. That's somebody else who took the time to draw that on their iPad, their pen and paper, whatever. They own that. They put the work into it. They, came up with something amazing, and you should pay for it if you want to use it, and you shouldn't be selling someone else's art. That's pretty much like what it comes down to.
Up to and including copyrighted art like Disney or NFL or Harley Davidson.
Yeah. Harley Davidson, they will take your house. They will take your mom's house. They they will take your firstborn. They will take
They will
everything.
drive by while you're sleeping on the street and laugh at you.
They will. They do not care. Which, when it comes down to it, if you have a copyright or a trademark, part of the rules in keeping your copyright and your trademark active and valid is fighting people who use it and shouldn't. That, like, if you don't defend your copyright or your trademark, then, like, I mean, that's, yeah, they can take it away because you're not, that's part of the rules. So, yeah, in NFL, they don't sell their licensing to us little old people. They don't sell crafters licenses.
The armed forces, you have to have like a heavy license from them.
Yes, the military, they have, I think each branch has their own like set of rules. High school and college, those ones are different from every high school to college. A lot of the high school and college groups, they actually do sell crafters licenses, but then there's limits. Like some of them, you can only sell $2,500 worth of goods, or
some of them require that you donate proceeds.
Some of them,
or like a portion of proceeds.
And then there's rules on how you use it. So you obviously can't use it for anything offensive. Sometimes you have to clear the design with them first, or the product. Yeah. So again. And this is where that blanket statement, if you didn't draw it, don't sell it. If you didn't, even if you redrew Mickey, this is another good one. People.
See, that's the thing. That's where the gray line comes in. Because they'll be like, oh, I drew that Mickey. Like,
true. Well, even if you drew it, if that item is recognizable as that brand, like if someone looks at it and says, oh, that looks like Disney, you're infringing. Whether you drew it, you're selling the design, you're selling the physical, whatever. Whether
you realized it or not.
Yeah, whether it was accidental, whether it was heavy inspiration that you didn't notice, but
I love
5 other.
And does that go into fonts?
So fonts,
because Disney has a very distinct font.
Probably.
Their font is definitely owned by them, I think.
Yeah. So fonts necessarily.
But there are a lot of similar fonts that look like the Disney font and aren't like exactly like it.
Yeah.
And that's technically allowed.
Yeah. But so fonts are the one thing that, like, okay, that most of them commercially you can use those in your digital design, even though I didn't hand draw that font. I can use that font
form.
Exactly. It has to be what's called like flattened. It can't be editable. So one thing that like people do, say they're selling a nursery sign file, they can't make it so that, oh, I had it say JR. Now they want to have it to say Ashley. They'd have to buy that font if they don't have it already, if they want to use the same exact font that I'm using. Because I can't send it so that they can, again, so that's editable.
Like you could technically leave it as editable text and have like instructions in there that state like you must buy this font, otherwise your font will default to. But then you would have to tell them to do the outline, like changing it to outlines and all that jazz, which is just too much for me.
No.
Yeah. They'll be like, oh, I forgot it didn't agree. Like that just opens so many doors.
Well, and when those milestone things started to become popular, I actually had you create. So one thing that we ran into when those became popular was, so with the milestone files, it's all of the numbers. Well, a lot of font licenses, you cannot provide all of a full set of the numbers or the alphabet. So I can't, because basically you're almost giving them these people access to that font in a roundabout way. And so a lot of us, I mean, I didn't even realize, that like, oh, okay, that's a good point. Like That's right. You're giving them 0 through 9. You just gave them all of the numbers for that font. And so a lot of font sellers were like, hey, you can't use my font on those milestone files because you're giving them access to the full, run. So when I made a milestone file, I actually had Heather hand letter the numbers for me and the words because I wanted it all to match.
I did the words too, right? Yeah.
But that was only just because I wanted them to match, but not because I could use somebody else's font for the words because again I've welded them together. They can't pull them apart.
Or you could have picked a font and I could have like kind of matched like brush style or something like
that. Right, true. Yeah, but I wanted a fully custom Lobo. You can't get this anywhere else. My homie did it for me.
Right.
But that was a loophole that a lot of us didn't even really realize because you're like, oh, I'm just creating this cool thing. It's super popular. And then the font designer's like, wait. No, you can't do that. Like, oh.
Right.
Oops.
Whoops.
What else? I was going somewhere else with that. I don't remember. But so fonts are okay. So you don't have to you have to be a hand letterer in order to sell like a saying or whatever. But you do need to send it so that they can't just make their own font with what you're sending them. Which, who would go through all that effort? Fonts aren't really that expensive anymore.
No, not at all. Especially like certain fonts that are like expensive like today are probably going to be on sale tomorrow or are already on sale on another site.
Right.
Like there are fonts that I paid like $12, $14 for a couple of years ago that I now see on the dollars, like $1, $5
the dollar day,
like, yeah.
Or even
which
free.
Is super annoying, but whatever. I use them enough to have paid back my $15 or whatever.
I know. I remember when I was super new and I was like, ooh, that font's really cool. And then they tell me, and then I go look it up and it was like $20. And I was like, $20 for a font?
There's one that's like, is it Lemon Script? It's like a couple hundred.
Oh, whoa. I mean, that has to be some cool ass font that I'm going to want to use in almost every design.
It's that like real like pretty like bubbly script.
Oh.
You've seen it.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, no.
I think maybe you were looking for it in a file. Or maybe somebody was. I'll have to send it to you.
Yeah, definitely.
It's pretty. I just was like, wow, that's expensive.
Yeah. And I guess you kind of keep it exclusive when you charge that much for a font because not a lot of people are going to want to...
You make sure it doesn't become like Master Blush.
Right.
On everything.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, Master Blush is on everything. And Samantha...
Master Blush takes over the world. Yeah. So for file selling, what file types do we recommend for including when selling?
Well, so you and I are different as far as this goes. You include every file.
Include?
Include.
Did you say include?
Include. I don't know what I said. It was not on purpose. You include all of the above, and I only provide SVG.
I provide SVG and PDF and AI.
And don't you do DXF too or something like that?
Oh, okay. No.
Oh, no, that's the one that we hate. Or that's like
that's the one that I
extra.
It has like extra steps. It's not hard at all. It's just an extra step that I don't ever do.
So you include three types?
I'll provide it if I need to. Yeah, so I give the AI, the full AI, so they can edit it or whatever. And then the SVG also so that they can edit and the PDF.
Yeah.
And then my README.
And then I only provide SVG, which hasn't been a problem so far. I do put in my descriptions.
I was gonna say you'll get like unless you don't list it. I had a lady over the past weekend that bought 10 files and asked me if I could save EPS files for her.
Oh, EPS. Yes, I've heard of that one too. Which I've had that one by request a couple times.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I've had DXF by request a couple of times.
Yeah, I think I have in my description, like, you can request another file, but ask me before you purchase. Don't purchase and say, hey, can you send me EPS? And I'm going to be like, no, sorry.
Or like, don't purchase and think I can do it right now and I'm not home or something like that. I've had a couple people be like, oh, can you do this? I'm like, yeah, but I'm not home.
Right. And I won't be home for several hours. And then when I am, I'm going to bed.
And you probably need this file like today at some point.
Or an hour ago or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is how I usually work. I'll be like, what do you mean you're not waiting right there for me?
Right?
to help me.
I finally am getting to this that I've put off for 2 weeks. I need it right now. I need you to be available.
Yeah.
So SVG is the most common. PDF also common. AI is also super common because, a lot of people use AI. I'm going to get there someday.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when. It might be this year. At this point, it's already June, right? Is it June?
Yep.
Yes, it's June. June 14th. We'll see. I don't know how this is going to go with...
I don't really have high hopes for you in the next month to learn. Yeah, I don't really think it's a good time for you to learn a new program.
No, but I really do want to start before the end of the year. So let's just make that a goal. That I'm going to start
before the end of the year.
Before the end of the
I'll
year.
approve that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of file selling and another update from last week, Stephanie from Most Definitely was on. And she's been procrastinating for months and months and months. I've been her Heather and bugging her to start up her file page, her Etsy page. Because she'll always post something and she'll get a million comments of, are you selling the file? Are you selling the file? Are you selling the file? I want the file. I want the file. This is adorable. Give me the file. So every time she posts, no matter what it is. And so I've been bugging her and she was scared, like I was. I was scared, sell to people. She finally set up her page.
Nice. And how's it going?
Good. I think, so last she told me, I think she had already sold 11 files. Nice. I remember she told me, so she set up her page and then she posted about it and she got her first sale and I was like, dude, you're killing it. I didn't get my first sale for a week or two. And then this was really cute. She's probably going to hate me for this, but she goes, I've sold 6 files and I don't have a review yet. I died. I literally did. I was like, oh, you're so cute. I was like, I'm pretty sure I sold 50 before I got my first review. Yeah. And I told her that I have I think 600 sales and I only have 340 something reviews. So
that's what I'm at 8,200 sales and I have 360 reviews.
Exactly. I'm like, people don't review, honey. You're good. Yeah. 6 files.
As long as they're not giving you bad reviews, you're good.
Yeah. Exactly.
They will review you if your file stinks.
Oh, they will. Exactly. But she finally started hers and it's doing pretty well so far. So
that's fun.
And she drew hers. They're
I'm
actually
so glad you were able to pay it forward and bully somebody else.
Right. And it's so funny because I would kind of quote you all the time. I'm like, Heather would do this to me. You're gonna be mad that you didn't start now, and you're gonna be like, I should have started earlier, and blah blah blah. I'm like, just do it. And she's already enjoying the fact that
you have got to listen.
Right. Listen, Linda, listen.
Look it, honey.
He's so cute. He's probably 15 now. We gotta.
Yeah.
Those are the worst.
I hope he still sounds like that.
Right?
Probably not.
He probably gets really annoyed when people ask him to walk around saying, Linda.
Right. Listen, Linda. But yeah, she's already enjoying the fact. She's like, I think it was in one of her posts, or I don't know if she told me, but she's like, I love the fact that, she's selling files. She didn't have to actually make anything. I'm like, welcome to the downward spiral of not wanting to make products anymore.
I love explaining that to people too. My friends and family are like, so wait, they just they don't buy anything? I'm like, no, they buy the file. And they're like, but it's nothing. And I'm like, but it's not nothing. It's a file.
Right.
And they're a file that they can use to make stuff. And they're like, but for you, it's nothing. I'm like, well, it's a file that I made. Right. They're like, so you don't have to do anything. I'm like, well, no, because I just told you what I just what's hard about this.
That's what that lady, the lady who bought my watch band,
she was paid real money,
real life money.
Real life money.
I was like, I've received 100 and something reviews on this this file.
You were
alone.
Here's a screenshot of a file I just got while we were talking.
Right. And she's like, well, that's great that they enjoyed nothing, but I don't, or something. And I'm like, Lady, you're not getting it. It's not nothing. It's something. It's a lot of something to a lot of people, just not you, okay?
Who apparently doesn't have the ability to read English.
Oh my god. It's like she read English enough to type yes 4 times. 4 times. But didn't read. No, maybe it's comprehension. She can read. She does not have reading comprehension.
Just pour one out for our homies with no comprehension.
Pour one out. I can't. Oh man, I think we've covered everything as far as like file selling though. Like it's a really good passive income because as you can tell, especially
it is my primary business income now.
Yeah, if you have the skill, you definitely should be doing it because again, and like if maybe if you were selling so much, you know, you could, I guess, be worried about, like, you know, the saturation of the market. But there's so many people that there's enough to go around that even if I was selling the physical product, like, actually finding someone who bought my file that is turned into my competition, like, the chances of that are pretty small. Because even all of the South Florida people that I know, we all make completely different stuff.
Well, that's like how you and I, when we were making like our Christmas files or like our earring files, like we even spoke about like how the hell are we going to put out like holly or
we did, and they were completely different.
I was gonna say, and then they were literally the same exact design, but totally different. And I was like, we're good,
right? Well, and it's so I know it's so funny because how many times have we talked like, oh, look what I just like. We'll send each other a picture of our Procreate screen of look what I just drew, and the other one's like, oh, funny, I just tested mine on the laser yesterday. Here's mine, and you're like, oh, but like we
like
talk
the fruit slices, and we're like, you just draw it, and then I'll use yours,
right? Pretty much, because we have the same. We'll literally have the same list of designs that we want to draw. We even have a somewhat similar style, but it's different enough that like if you and I both drew, I mean, we both drew holly earrings that one year, and they were different, but it was like the same amount of leaves and the same amount of balls. but
even just like our plain like rectangle earrings, like you put the whole like inside the shape usually, and like I attach to the little knots at the top. Like we just have like subtle differences where like the design itself might be like really similar, but you'll be able to see like, oh, that's definitely Crystal, or that's definitely Heather.
Yeah, exactly. So like even though we do, because our brain is a lot of times on the same wavelength of like, oh, funny, I was gonna draw that too. But like all of the people in South Florida, I mean, I did that one of like 3 craft shows I did. One of the laser friends I met, Shelly, she had a Glowforge too. We both had a laser, and we had not one item that was not even similar. I think we might have both had ornaments, but her ornaments were completely different than the ornaments I was carrying. And
that's
vice
like
versa.
The cool thing about the fact that like we might all have a CO2 laser, but like we all take a different spin on it. Like you could make hat patches, or you could be making like folding chairs. Like
just think of think of what you make,
lamps or like anything.
The things that that Emily makes is different from the things that Mindy makes. It's different from the things that this girl
But I
Danielle
feel like some of my friends and family like forget that like it's not just about signs, or like it's not just about like signs and tumblers. Like I'm like people do like crazy shit with their lasers.
But like even if you're selling the file, like I think just to worry about saturation, like it has to be a pretty small market. Like you have to be in a small town. You have to be one of 2 people who's selling like, you know, interchangeable signs. And okay, maybe you shouldn't sell your interchangeable in that. Like just don't sell that file. But for the most part, like the world is so huge and there are so many customers that like you do not have to worry about that. There's enough to go around to make this passive income. Again, if you have the skills to do so, you know, drawing, creating, testing.
And
That's
don't
another
underestimate
thing.
your ability to draw on an iPad.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Even if you think you can't draw, like, grab yourself an
can't.
iPad. If you hate it, return it. It's like 14-day return policy?
Yeah.
14. So, like, you could just try it out for a week and be like, oh, look, I suck at drawing. I really do suck at drawing. Or you could be like, oh,
no, but
shit, maybe I don't suck at drawing.
I do suck at drawing, but Procreate helps. It smooths out your lines. It makes it so it actually even fools you to think that you can draw, because there's been times where I'm like, oh, let me do this. And then the streamline that makes...
Just, like, being able to practice and, like, reduce the waste of, like, pen to paper, throwing things out, erasing, like, the ability to erase what you just did with, like, a finger tap. Like, just it's so easy.
Well, but I mean, like, it tricks you into thinking that you can draw. Because, like, if I took out a pen and paper, I can guarantee you it would look like dog shit.
Anything like exactly.
Because again, like I was saying, the streamline.
Well, we don't have the ability to layer. Or like have like the opacity dropped on like a photo of a leaf if I need to turn a leaf to the side.
I remember I was on like cloud 9 of like drawing all these amazing like flowers and designs, and it was coming super easy. And then one day I went and grabbed the wrong brush, and I tried to like draw with a brush on like a brush that had like no streamline. It was like way down, and it was like, oh my god, why can't I do this? And I was like, oh, because I can't anyway, but Procreate makes it look like I can. And I was like, we visited my mom. She was in town the other day. And we saw her, and I was showing her something, and I'm like, look, I drew that. Like, I'm even like, I almost have to brag about it just because like I can't draw. So if I make something nice,
shirts made that say I drew that.
Yes, I would totally wear that, because I say that all the time. I get so proud of like when I can draw something that doesn't look like crap. I'm like, ooh, look what I did.
I drew that. Well, that's what. Anytime I send pictures to like Butter, my mom, or anybody of like my work, I'll tag it with that. I'm like, I'll be like, guess what? I do that.
Don't ask me to.
I'll be like, I hand lettered that.
Yeah. Don't ask me to do it on pen and paper, but on Procreate, I'm a pro.
Not even my hand lettering. Don't ask me to do that on paper.
Oh, true. That's funny. You should. I want you to do a comparison.
I mean, you've seen my print. So like I do, so like my actual like print is still nice, but like the brush lettering, like the pressure changing and everything that you get in Procreate, like I have a whole bunch of brush pens for when I was doing calligraphy, but nothing compares to how easy that all is in Procreate.
Yeah, but don't underestimate it, because I mean,
I would say we need to do an episode. Did we do an episode on Procreate yet?
No, we need to. It's on the list. We'll do that maybe next month. Yeah. Okay. In your next 4 weeks.
You're going to have a baby next month.
Oh, fuck.
Yep.
That's so crazy.
I love how I just breezed by on the next episode in 4 weeks. Not thinking about in the next episode in 4 weeks, I'll probably be
You're going to have a baby. To
being in the hospital.
We might be doing it. We might be recording it in the hospital.
I know. I told John, I was like, it'd be pretty funny if we recorded an episode in the hospital as the nurses come in and we're like headphones, microphones.
Yeah. Right. I support this.
Right? We might have to. So
you'll hear beeping in the background.
Right. Beep. Beep.
I can co-host it, but I'll just jump in like if for some reason you guys get interrupted and have to like tend to others.
I'll still be here.
You can just be like, and now we're switching to our paid programming, and I'll be like, this is so
Crystal's pushing now.
Ew.
So it'll just be me and Heather. It'll be me and Heather.
You went too far, Ron. You took it too far.
Sorry. I'll shut up again.
Not during birth, either before or maybe after, okay?
Okay.
Like, when you're waiting for the Pitocin to kick in, or, we can maybe do one of those.
Okay.
But yeah, so the next few weeks is going to kind of be up in the air. We were going to maybe take a couple weeks off. We were going to record some ahead. But I think what we're just going to do, we're going to just keep going with the flow. Yeah, and power through. Because, I know me. And I took a couple weeks off for the pregnancy, and it turned into a couple months. So I don't want to, like, lose the momentum if we don't need to. And then maybe if it's just like a shortened episode of like a quick update, you know, this is
or just do like
whatever.
Just do like a celebrity bartender and have like somebody else take over for a week.
Yeah, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, we could do that. I mean,
like that.
It's not that we can do this mobily. So
yeah, totally.
I was gonna say like the thing is like even if you're not, you have the ability to kind of record it at any time that
right.
So it's not, you know what I mean? Like so I feel like
and so that's why I feel like even though things are going to be a little crazy with the baby, I mean John's going to be off for 2 to 3 weeks, and so at some point I'm sure during that week we can find 30 minutes to an hour to try and squeeze in an episode. Another more exciting news is so this week we had our favorite Philly accent, but next week I don't have
an accent.
Okay, sure. So next week we have someone from
we booked her?
Australia. Yep.
Nice.
Next week, Jade from Australia. So she reached out to me. Younger girl. I think she's name. Like in her in her 20s or 30s. I guess lasering is not super popular in Australia, at least where she's at. And she just said that she was loving the podcast and that she could relate, as far as business, like the struggles that we've had or that our guests have had. She related to and made it feel normal. And yeah, so she reached out and said that she'd love to be on, and I literally told her that the answer was yes on accent alone.
Right.
So it should be fun.
Yeah,
so we'll have her next week. Philly 1 week, Aussie the next.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if there's anybody who wants to be a guest, send me a message. If you aren't already in the Facebook group, she wasn't. So that's another thing we gotta remember to push the Facebook group, because that's where we do, updates. If there's any issues with the podcast, we talk about that.
The Apple issue seems to have resolved itself.
Seems to have corrected, at least for now.
So if you were Apple and are listening on Spotify, head back over to Apple, see if it's up for you. But the
reviews are showing back up. All the episodes seem to be appearing, so hopefully they got their crap together.
Seems like they did an update.
Something.
Because just genuinely where I listen to my podcast on Apple, like the layout's a little different. So it looks like they did go through. What it was. Yeah, they did go through some sort of update.
Okay.
So check back to Apple if you switched over to Spotify, or stay on Spotify.
Yep. Join the Facebook group.
Just listen.
I have magnets if you want one for a donation. Shit, that reminds me. Cindy bought one. I didn't send it to her yet. Pregnancy brain. Oh. Shit. Sorry, Cindy. I love you. I'll send it tomorrow. But yeah, so I have the magnets.
Hopefully when you're listening to this, Cindy, you already have your magnet.
Right, because that's a week from now. Whoops. She loves me. She'll give me a break. It's okay. Yeah. That was all over the place. Just follow us on all the things. On the social medias, and support us if you're able.
And that's the Riley Black Project. It's been another great episode of the Riley Black Project. Thank you, Heather, for joining us.
Bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye.
Mamie, we're all done.